Right. So it is very, very clear that Shedeur Sanders is winning this quarterback competition so far. Okay. Browns media, they don't really want to admit it, but
There is a highly orchestrated, multi-million-dollar cover-up currently happening right now behind the closed doors of an NFL training camp, and the mainstream media is absolutely terrified to tell you the truth. If you blindly listen to the radio broadcasts or read the carefully sanitized reports from the legacy beat writers, you would think everything is going exactly according to plan. You would believe the depth chart is firmly set. The highly...
Again, let me show you this. That's another one in the end zone. That's another interception.
paid veteran is completely locked in, and the rookie is quietly waiting his turn to hold a clipboard. But when you bypass the corporate PR machines and look directly at the raw, unfiltered tape leaking out of practice, a completely different and utterly shocking reality is immediately exposed. The undeniable truth is that Shedeur Sanders is actively, aggressively, and systematically dismantling the competition, completely winning the starting quarterback job while the established media desperately tries to look the other way. The Browns media ecosystem does not want to admit what is happening directly in front of their faces because acknowledging it means accepting a massive, franchise-altering disaster.
He's thrown with anticipation, but watch, he sails the football. You see that? Sails it. He's open. He's open. Come on. Bro, you can't have babyface
Guarding their salary cap. But thankfully, the era of relying on gatekeepers is officially over. We finally have boots on the ground, and what they are reporting is about to send absolute shockwaves through the entire league. To understand the sheer magnitude of the panic actively rippling through the front office, you have to look directly at the man who was supposed to be the undisputed face of the franchise. Deshaun Watson was brought in to be the ultimate savior, handed an unprecedented, fully guaranteed contract that fundamentally shattered the NFL financial market. But the raw practice footage entirely contradicts the massive price tag.
You see what I'm saying? Where are you throwing?
While the PR team is desperately trying to push a narrative of a dramatic comeback, the tape is showing a quarterback who is visibly lost on the football field. We are watching undeniable footage of Watson actively throwing brutal, head-scratching interceptions into double coverage. And the most terrifying part? He isn't even struggling against the elite starters. These massive mistakes are...
Mind you, yesterday, Shedeur with the twos had the best throw of camp. If you missed that throw, let me see if I can find it because I want to layer it up. I should have already had it in here. Pardon me. Where it's at? Hold on. Let me see. I need to make sure it's there.
Happening against the second-team defense. The tape shows him blatantly telegraphing his passes, staring down his primary reads, and entirely selling the football before he even releases it. He is wildly overthrowing receivers who have managed to find vast amounts of open space, completely failing to throw with any sense of professional anticipation. When you are getting baited into throwing devastating interceptions to a guy like Babyface Edmonds, you are not operating at a championship level. You are actively suffocating the offense. And yet, if you ask the mainstream reporters, they will look you dead in the eye and pretend the competition is perfectly even. When an organization has hundreds of millions of dollars tied up in a single player, the local beat reporters suddenly become highly motivated PR agents rather than actual journalists. Legacy media figures like Mary Kay Cabot and the Daily Voices flooding 92.3 The Fan are actively protecting their coveted press credentials. They understand that if they aggressively report the horrific reality of Watson's collapse, they risk entirely alienating the front office and losing their insider access. They belong to a silent, highly protective alliance that we can only describe as the anybody but Shedeur Mafia. They want to sell you absolute bullcrap all day, continuously spinning a narrative that the veteran just needs a little more time to knock off the rust. But the beautiful thing about the modern sports landscape is that we no longer have to blindly swallow whatever the front office decides to feed us. We have genuine, unfiltered representation out at camp. Guys like Tyvis and G. Bush are actively boots on the ground, operating entirely outside the control of the team's PR department. They are watching every single snap, tracking every single throw.
Again, when people keep saying, I need to know why. This just G. Bush talking. I'm just confused.
And bringing back the brutal, undeniable truth that the mainstream media is desperately trying to hide. And the truth they are bringing back is an absolute nightmare for anyone holding a massive veteran contract. While the highly paid veteran was actively throwing the ball to the other team, a completely different narrative was exploding on the other side of the practice field, and it was entirely impossible to ignore. Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the grass and immediately began putting on a throwing clinic that left the coaching staff completely speechless. We are not just talking about a rookie making a few lucky plays in skeleton drills.
Right? See, and people keep talking, people say, yo, hey, Tyvis said it was even. Tyvis said it was even. Here's the thing.
We are watching a young quarterback systematically carve up a professional defense with terrifying precision. Yesterday, Shedeur uncorked an absolute dime that was immediately universally recognized as the single greatest throw of the entire training camp. But if you thought it was a one-hit wonder, you are entirely mistaken. He came out the very next day and successfully replicated that exact same magic, dropping pinpoint, devastating passes into incredibly tight coverage. And here is the crucial detail the legacy media...
I'm picking random clips and these is picks. These is still picks. I'm confused by this. What is this? Look at this play. Dime. This yesterday.
Absolutely refuses to highlight. Shedeur is not doing this against the backups. He is actively operating against the ones. He is dropping back into the pocket, scanning the field, and delivering surgical strikes while staring down the terrifying reality of Jared Verse rushing off the edge, Grant Delpit roaming the deep third, and Quincy Williams violently clogging the passing lanes. He is actively dunking on some of the most elite defensive talent in the entire sport, making
what I talk about the accuracy is when he even missed on this throw. Look at the millimeters, and he gives us opportunity.
The game look completely effortless. But that wasn't the whole story, because the most terrifying proof of this rookie's absolute greatness didn't actually come from a touchdown pass. It came from his single biggest mistake. There is a dark, unspoken rule whispered in every single front office in the league, a brutal reality that every veteran desperately hopes their coaching staff will ignore. When you evaluate a quarterback battle, you don't just look at the highlights, you have to surgically analyze the failures. The mainstream media was desperate to find a flaw, and they finally got their wish when Shedeur threw an interception during a highly contested rep. But when you actually slow the tape down and deeply analyze the mechanics of that specific play, it's something.
Even when I said this, watch this. This is the interception, right? Jerry Jeudy one-on-one outside.
How makes the rookie look even more impressive. Shedeur recognized a one-on-one matchup on the outside with Jerry Jeudy. He accurately read the coverage, correctly anticipated the route, and delivered the ball. The resulting interception wasn't a product of a terrible read or a wild, panicked overthrow like the ones we are seeing from the veteran side of the camp. It was a spectacular, highly athletic play by a world-class defensive back. When you freeze the frame, you realize that Shedeur missed his absolute optimal window by sheer millimeters. Even when he makes a mistake,
that was yesterday, the best throw of camp so far. Now watch this. That's today.
Accuracy, the placement, and the fundamental mechanics give his receiver a legitimate opportunity to make a play on the ball. It is a game of microscopic margins, and the rookie is actively operating with a level of precision that the established veteran simply cannot currently match. And what happened next would shock everyone who thought this depth chart was permanently set in stone. What we are currently witnessing in real time is a heavily calculated psychological operation that NFL insiders quietly refer to as the absolute slow walk. When a highly paid, heavily marketed veteran completely loses his job to an unproven rookie during training camp, a franchise cannot simply announce it on a random Tuesday morning. The financial fallout, the media frenzy, and the sheer embarrassment to the general manager who authorized the massive contract would be entirely catastrophic. Instead, they begin the slow walk. They quietly instruct the friendly beat reporters to start slightly criticizing the veteran. They allow whispers of a tightening competition to slowly leak onto the radio waves. They slowly condition the absolute diehard fanbase to accept the possibility that a massive change is quietly brewing on the horizon. When voices like Tyvis get onto the microphone and claim the competition is somehow perfectly even, that is the absolute...
And all of this stuff. We have real representation there that's giving the real and being honest about what the hell is going on. And it's very clear and apparent beyond the QB tracker, from the footage to the tracker to the voices we trust being there, that watching everything, letting us know what's going on, that Shedeur Sanders is handling business and he should be ahead of Deshaun Watson in this competition. We got to get to what G. Bush had to say after.
Ultimate red flag. The slow walk has officially begun. The media is desperately trying to soften the blow, preparing the public for the inevitable moment when the coaching staff is forced to do what is best for the football team rather than what is best for the accounting department. If it is even remotely close between the guy who does not have the veteran starts and the guy who is supposedly the highly paid face of the franchise, the argument is already entirely over. You do not keep a generational talent holding a clipboard on the sideline simply to protect the fragile ego of a player who is actively struggling to complete a simple check-down pass. The raw footage does not lie. The boots on the ground refuse to be silenced, and the writing is absolutely plastered all over the walls of the facility. Shedeur Sanders is not just participating in a quarterback competition. He is actively hijacking an entire franchise, completely rewriting the narrative, and demanding the keys to the offense through sheer, undeniable talent. The front office can try to slow walk this inevitable transition all they want, but you cannot hide absolute greatness when it is consistently putting on a masterclass every single afternoon on the practice field. The only remaining mystery is exactly how long the Cleveland coaching staff is willing to delay the inevitable before they finally step up to the podium and admit that a brand new era has officially arrived.